This is a follow-up to my last video about having a little bit of fun, and it's addressed to the Infinite Pain Society that is still fixated on the real world. And I'm going to skip through this. I'll pause a little, skip through, even let some of these people talk a little bit, and I'm going to just run this now. I'm going to attach a link to this video. I love this video. This you'll see what I mean. Okay, this is the lunar lander. It had a 10,000-pound thrust. Please describe any problems with following NASA photos. £10,000 thrust. That's 7,500-pound thrust. Please explain. Fabulous. Okay, where's the dust on top of the landing device? A thruster, Apollo 15. This is Neil Armstrong landing a version of the lunar module on Earth. See how he's directing it beautifully. Oops. Oh, that didn't work. Jeez, that didn't work. This was just before he went into space, Neil Armstrong. He couldn't land the lunar module safely on Earth. I guess the moon is different. You don't fall that hard on the moon. So, you know, look at it. He had to eject himself. Oops, that didn't work. Okay, it didn't work, Tom. Just having a little fun. There he is explaining why he's such a bad pilot. He's just useless. They should have picked somebody. This is great. This is great. This is a commenter. It's a little long, this video. It's about, I think, maybe 20 minutes. So I'm just going to do little snippets. I'll attach, and I'll make my commentary after this as well. So have a look. Have a listen.
As the lunar lander, one of the lunar landers that landed on the moon. This is definitely one of the lunar landers that landed on the moon. It's not something made for a school play.
An official picture.
Art department.
Published by NASA.
So, now what you're going to see here in a second is the...
Okay, it's interjected here. The Earth comes up over the moon horizon, and I'll just sort of speed this up a little bit.
Earth rising.
Okay.
So this is supposedly, according to NASA, and I'm going to take the volume so you can hear what they have to say. Let me just make sure this is loud enough. And then I'm not going to tell you what's wrong with this image. I want to see if you can get it. So let's first show this for a little bit. And again, I'm only going to show the sample.
Plus craters spreads out.
The lunar surface is moving and the Earth comes up, and I'll just synopsize.
Came into view above the moon's horizon. This is the Earthrise, captured by the Kaguya's HDTV wide-angle camera.
Nice. Look at the nice
As
curvature.
the moon has no atmosphere, the outline of the slowly rising Earth is clearly visible.
Okay, I'll synopsize this. I like to go to this guy. Don't want to do it too long. But the gist of this basically is that as the moon rises over a period of, I don't know how long, maybe 15 minutes or so, whatever the time it was, you clearly see that the Earth is not spinning. You'll see it in this thing. The Earth is just sort of sitting there for 15 minutes at 1,000 miles an hour spinning. There is no movement in the Earth. So the next thing is this wonderful comment by, I don't know who it is, but it's fabulous. Let's listen to it.
It's clearly visible.
Okay.
We're going to make some observations. Observation number 1, no windows. So there's no air pressure on the moon, so they can't use a barometric altimeter. So how do they know how far they are from the surface of the moon? Don't know. Maybe this is why they didn't have to use this. The jet here in the bottom, you see how there is no little sign?
10,000-pound thrust underneath.
No, it's because the gravity is only 1/6 So it could just fall gently. So, okay, so it falls gently.
The top of the Earth is north. We can clearly see the Arabian Peninsula.
Okay, I'm going to stop it right there. Now, you can watch this several times. Now, before...
Okay, so he's going to tell us, he'll just show us how the Earth is not changing its dimension at all. So, not dimension, you can't see the turning of the Earth. You can't. Like I said, go to the video. I'm not doing this very well, but go to the video to check it out. Now, I just want to give you the introduction to this wonderful person commenting on the nature of this lunar module, which I saw at the Smithsonian. I was blown away by how ridiculous this thing looks. Listen to this commenter.
Have a closer look.
Let's.
Let's do this. And let's see. What material is this? What is this? With all this buckling. And let's look closer. Look. You see here at the top, they started with very good intentions. They said, we are going to make this look very neat and everything will be very great. Okay? And they have these bendy over things that they put a nail through.
This looks a little bit like duct tape right there, or some sort of a duct tape going up and down here, if you know what I mean.
Dun, 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 dun. And then they just ran out. They ran out of them. So they just use a press-on stud. And here is a very important bendy thing. They had another one, so they used it here. And some more press-on studs. You can see by this shape here, the highlight here, you see, and a little bit of highlight here, compared to the low light here and the highlight here. You can tell that this is a thin material. It's not a thick material like drywall, plastering, something. No. This is more like parcel paper. Okay?
That this is the North Pole, so it's supposedly on an angle. It's supposed to be spinning, shouldn't it? And yet, look at it. It's perfectly still. And as you can see, the video is still going, so I didn't pause this. So the moon supposedly is moving, as you could see. See how the image is moving past my the point? And yet, look at that. The Earth is not spinning at all. We're being lied to, ladies and gentlemen. Share this.
Now, let's look at one more thing.
I love this guy.
You see these things here, the padding here with the express studs? This looks like a BMX guide for the crossbar.
BMX.
Too thick, it's not for a real.
A bicycle
But
protection.
look, here, press studs. Okay. And here, press studs. But here, tape. And here, not even tape. This is like the rubber padding that you get for things. Can you see? You can see the gap there and there. Okay? And people will say, you're stupid. This is for heat resistance. It's like, okay, this is for heat resistance. Why do they use cardboard here? This doesn't look like very heat resistant. And look here, this little pointy thing.
Pointy
If you
thing.
look close, it looks like it's a peephole. It looks like somebody inside looking. Or maybe this is directional and somebody look and there's a little mirror here and they could see the lunar floor, and this is how they landed. And it doesn't matter about this big gap here or the crimping, and it doesn't matter about all this. The stains, it doesn't matter about the stains. It doesn't look, this is definitely, it means that this definitely worked because you can see all this here.
That was, as he explained, the deflection for the jets. There is a jet right here, and you didn't want to burn any of the material on the lunar lander, so this is going to deflect the hot gases, fire coming out of it. That's what he's talking about there.
It's not like somebody spitting on it to make it look wet. No, don't be so silly. And look, all this.
Oh yeah, I thought these looked like those measuring cups for making cake. My mother had these sort of looking measuring cups for making cake when I was a kid. I would fill those little measuring cups. They had like little lines on it to see how much flour and sugar you had in there.
Precision engineering. I would like engineers to look at this and to write to me and tell me that this really is the result of precision engineering, especially the way that this overhang. Okay? And
Okay, I think you get the idea. I'll attach the link. I'm going to go to a video now. Okay. Check out the link. I'm going to attach it on the bottom, and I'm having a little fun with this, but it's also serious. And I want to create a context again on why it is that I'm bringing this up, this topic of the world is not what it appears to be. And this is my comment to the Infinite Pain Society, who are still fixated on the real world the way somehow we have allowed our psyche to be infused with the anomalies. And it's quite dysfunctional from the point of view that if you are able to understand and distinguish something like Fukushima, which is happening, which is destroying life on Earth by intent. Go back to my videos. I talk about the Fukushima by intent idea, that it's an extermination. But my idea, why I comment, is to create context, why I make paintings. I try to create some sort of attachment that is real for a person, even though when you look at a painting, it seems illusionistic, or the things that are being raised by artists, painters that are of value to us, people that are of value to us, have an understanding of how to eliminate the anomalies in our life. Like, to hold two positions that are contrary is something that makes us dysfunctional on another level. It doesn't mean that you can't have an insight and understanding about one thing, but as long as you keep entertaining opposing views, you try to merge them, you sort of try to get the oil to mix with the water, it doesn't work. It creates dysfunction, and which is why I am picking on this topic. I could pick on a lot of topics. I could pick on money or Bitcoin or things in what appear to be the real world that we're really fixated on, and we're not getting ahead. We're not able to move out of this conundrum that we're in. This is what I'm saying. We are always trying to balance opposing views and making them work, and it doesn't work. It doesn't work. And this is why I say you should never criticize people for questioning, even if you feel you are the propagator of the ultimate universal truth. Like I say, truth is a moving target. So I'm exposing in this, or I'm attempting to elucidate the idea that, in this case, they went to the moon, the NASA people, the people that have extracted trillions of dollars of wealth, which is the idea, and created a story, the greatest story ever told. I have to tell you, the greatest story ever, well, I'll say the greatest story ever told is that nuclear is cheap, clean, and safe. I think that is the greatest story because it has a much more direct effect on our real existence, on our life. External forces hitting us with the lethal radiation. We're accumulating this radiation in our bodies into the future. This stuff doesn't go away just because you want it to go away. And all those people still focus on all the real world as they are trying to expose to us how things are dysfunctional. Like, I listened to this Cliff High fellow again, and what is so obviously dysfunctional in this person is he focuses on the external world entirely. This is why, and I can't explain or I can't convince anyone to tell you, why do you want to stand in front of a painting in a museum and just be totally, what is that feeling? Or you listen to a piece of music and you become totally transfixed, and your capacities to absorb something is so increased, like you feel a range of emotion and thoughts that have never been you've never experienced before, and then you walk away from it and say, oh yeah, well, it's like going to a fantastic performance and then going right back, flipping right back into the real world life as is expressed by these white coats, these brilliant people, and I'm picking on them. You see, what I'm saying here is that if you hold two opposing views and try to merge them, it's going to fuck you up big time. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. And as a painter, what I am attempting in my work, and sometimes I succeed, sometimes I don't, but I really give it a good shot to try and merge something into a unity of thought. So that I'm talking about, for example, the destruction being caused by Fukushima, not having a white, well, I have a white t-shirt, but I'm not a white coat, giving you the real world, to the infinite pain society that continuously juggles the reality that you know to be totally untrue, but continue to act on that falsehood. You continue to be taken in to that falsehood. The way I've been taken into the falsehood, and I've resisted it from very early on, but I didn't understand this. I'm a late bloomer to this. And what I come back to, how do we actually fight this anomaly within inside of us so that you cannot, and I'm going to, I'm going to come back to what you cannot do. What I want to refer to is the idea that the earth is a ball, which is totally incongruous to everything that we observe, and that the cosmos, as we are explained by the white coats, is a certain way out there. If we hold that position in any kind of way and attempt to function as a normal human being, talking about the extreme danger we're in with Fukushima and all the nuclear bastards taking the field with the white coats, it doesn't work. You need to be open to the possibility. And I'm not saying the earth is flat. I'm saying what we're told we are witnessing, experiencing, is not what it appears to be. What they're telling us is a falsehood. It's a lie. Whether or not the moon is a ball spinning and rotating perfectly, pointing toward the earth, you only see one part of the moon all the time. It's spinning with the earth, so you never see the dark side of the moon. This is a weird phenomenon all in itself. I'd like to know why that happened, what's on the other side. Maybe it's a flat disk that you can't turn around to see. Anyway, I don't know. I honestly don't know how to interpret what it is we experience, other than I know we're not spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. It's not a ball because water finds its level. As you see, they did not go to the moon. And why would I believe people in the white coats telling us, these NASA brilliant physicists with PhDs who get it wrong all the time? They're destroying life on Earth. And if we're connected to the essence of our being, our existence is predicated on clean water, air, food, nutrients. If that is taken away from us by people that propagate a certain idea, you cannot hold two opposing views in your mind and think you're a normal, rational, functioning human being. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. That's what I'm saying. I could pick on a lot of things that are irrational. For example, Bitcoin. This whole economic thing about creating a world around us that is, the vision of labor is a fabulous idea in the sense that my energy and someone else's energy is not focused on the same activity. We are gravitating towards millions of different activities, and they should be organized in a way through an economic system that reimburses us for our effort in an exchange. And that is the idea of money. And now they're struggling, and this Bitcoin thing is insane. When you think about it, yes, it's sane if you can hold two opposing views. Now I'm going to give you the opposing view that doesn't work for me, and that is to fundamentally function on a level of an external world, ignoring the inner world, the internal part of us. And this is very crucial, I think, to be able to internalize something that we experience. Now, I will admit that we exist in what appears to be quite real. You know, you pinch yourself, it hurts. We're in an experience that can be justified to have an external, outside of us, an external world. Let's just go with that. I actually do not subscribe to that view of our existence because, as people have said, thoughts are things, our feelings are real, but you can't itemize them on a page, on a table or anything. These are emotions, are real things. Now, what is that? That is a revelation to us. The idea of making a painting for me doesn't originate in what is considered to be the external world, but it comes from an inner world that creates the structure in my external world. So as long as we're fixated and reacting to the external world, whatever is happening around us, outside of us, we are going to be fixated, caught in the headlights of something. We need to establish, and I think Swamis have established this in Eastern philosophy, which is totally screwed up anyway, because they do all the opposite to what they say. You know, those Bhagwans and the Sai Babas who were exposed for having a golden egg come out of them and it was like fabricated and all this stuff. These are charlatans. These are people trying to take advantage of our vulnerability. So it comes ultimately back to us. And I listen to people, and there is actually an incredibly promising feeling, hopeful feeling that I have. This distinction of holding two opposite points of view in us is starting to separate. It's starting, or not separate, it's starting to unravel. This is very hopeful. I'm optimistic on this, that it's unraveling, especially with videos being produced by people who comment, like this wonderful Spanish accent guy. It sounds like somebody from South America commenting on the ridiculousness. I don't know why the Spanish thing, because I lived in Spain for 9 years, and there is a reality of an honesty, an integrity, an authenticity among people. I was among people that were the sort of salt of the earth types, and they would give their last meal to you because you were hungry. This is how they function. And this is the inner world structuring the outer world. That's what I'm talking about. And I'm just warning, I'm saying what I have understood is that you cannot hold two opposing views and think to be a normal human being in your potential, in your ability to function in this world. It needs to be questioned. And I'm not saying you have to adopt a certain position on something. Like I say, I don't know if the earth is flat. I don't know what dimension we are living in, but I do know what we're being told is false, is not true. And this is, I guess, the context that I'm trying to create when I make my videos. And like I say, the ship is sinking. And what I like about the ship sinking is that you notice that it's the Spanish galley, whatever that Columbus type ship was, that culture that started the post-Columbian era, that the scourges that went through the China shop and destroyed anything that they came across, the Aguirres, the people that came and pillaged and raped and burned a civilization. Not to say that the civilization they pillaged, burned, and raped should have existed in the first place, because they were brutal, they were barbarians, they committed horrible acts against their own population, as far as history seems to be recorded. Maybe that is a lie too. Maybe this is what this guy came back and said, oh yeah, they're just fucking barbarians and they're just killing everything. Maybe that's not true. So I gotta put this into my own head, and I do not want to keep opposing thoughts in my head for too long, because it creates dysfunction. That's what I'm saying. And I'm exposing this NASA bullshit and the ball earth idea that's being propagated. What a bunch of fucking hooey that is, because there is no evidence that supports what it is they're saying based on this. Look at this footage. This is a NASA photograph. The people in white coats tell us this is the reality of our cosmos. So if they fudge it on that one, why wouldn't they fudge it on anything else? It's just a proposition. I'm saying it's a proposition. Do you want to continue with this weird perspective that we carry within us that creates dysfunction and is creating so much suffering? This is the problem. If it wasn't really creating suffering, let the NASA fuckers do whatever the hell they want. But it's creating enormous suffering because we make the wrong choices. We defend ourselves, or we try to do the right thing in one way, and then we just knock it over with our ass in the other way. I'm going to develop this idea a little bit more in my future videos.